Welcome back. Coming up now is the men's singles final, pitting Lin Dan versus Chen, and obviously both from China. Dan the number 3 seed, Chen the number 7 seed, and should be an interesting final today, depending on how Lin Dan does.
Well, it really depends on which Lin Dan shows up today. Obviously, we've seen his left-hander's explosiveness all over the court. And when he's on top form, there's nobody, including number 1 in the world, Lee Chong-wei, cannot play up against him. But obviously, these two teammates are also very often training partners. So playing against somebody that you train against very often sometimes can be very tricky. And I'm sure that the younger Chen is really trying to see if he can step up to the plate and maybe get inside the head of Lin, because obviously very important to have that confidence and get a win against him in a big tournament. And
you have an interesting theory about the world rankings at the moment, Kiki, coming up to the Olympics next year.
Well, obviously it's very, very important. As we saw earlier in the week, Peter Gader of Denmark complained a little bit about the fact that he is getting squeezed down the rankings of the world in the men's badminton right now. And the top 4 in the men's badminton coming into London at the Olympics really has a good chance of progressing through the tournament without having to play a top-ranked player. And therefore, everybody desperately trying to protect their ranking and get inside the top 4 and be ranked to at least reach the semifinals. And it's very critical. And as it's looking right now, it looks like Lee Chong-wei of Malaysia and 3 Chinese are going to be in the top 4. And the Dane, Peter Gader, who is probably going to play his last Olympics, is going to be 5th or maybe 6th coming into London.
So Lin Dan has slipped down to world number 3, and obviously Lee Chong-wei being number 1. Does it really matter whether you're 1 or 3 or 4 at this stage?
Well, not if it comes to coming into big tournaments, but obviously there is a certain level of pride of being number 1 in the world. And of course, the Malays and Lee Chong-wei rightfully should be proud of him being the number 1 ranked player in the world. But everybody knows that Lin Dan, when he's at his peak, he can wipe the floor clean pretty much with anybody who plays against him, because he's so powerful, and nobody in the men's game has found a recipe to beat him when he's playing at his best.
And of course today we also have the ladies singles coming up, and 2 very, very good players there. Tina Baun of Denmark, who's 32, in the sort of twilight of her career, and of course Zhang Wang from China. How do we think that one's going to go today?
We're playing in the Olympics with him as well. There, his opponent today, Chen, has been around the block for a while now, and having dropped to 5 in the world, I'm sure he's not happy with that. He is capable of taking Lin Dan all the way down to the wire. It's going to be interesting to see how well he starts. I think it's going to be very important for the younger Chen to really establish a good foothold and maybe get a 2 or 3 point advantage early in the game.
I think we can now go across to the Coliseum for commentary, and I believe the commentator is Gillian Clark, the former world number 1 herself.
Well, Lin Dan just indicating to the umpire that he's won the toss, he wishes to serve. I have to say, I don't understand why players do that nowadays. Always a difference in end. Whatever stadium we're in, there's always a slight difference. And of course, under the old scoring system, you could only score a point when you were serving, and therefore it was an advantage to serve because you immediately had the opportunity to score points. That's no longer the case because there's a point per rally. So the world number 3, and look at his win-loss record for the year, 53 and 5, and that translates into 6 previous finals, winning 4 titles, Korea, Germany Grand Prix, Asian Badminton Championships, and of course those World Championships as well. Well, his path through to today's final, his toughest match was actually in the first round against Kashyap Parupalli. Dropped the opening game before coming back 21-17, 21-14 in an hour and 7 minutes. But of course, the semi-final yesterday against Lee Chong-wei, who was the 2-time defending champion. Lee Chong-wei has won the Hong Kong Open for the past 2 years. But he was 3-9 down in that opening game and then 7-11 down before winning 6 straight points to win in 2 straight games. So to his opponent, Chen Jin, the 25-year-old from Hubei province. Seeded 5. 3 finals this year prior to this, but only 1 title. That was in Singapore. And he was supposed to play his opponent of today in that Singapore Open final. And Lin Dan unable to play because of what was described as gastric flu. So, like Lin Dan, his toughest match was in the first round against Hong Kong's very own Hu Yun. Dropped the opening game. And in fact was way down in the second. He was 13-17 down in that second game before winning 7 straight points to go 20-17 up. Well, last meeting was in the French Open. Head-to-head is actually 13-5 because one of the matches down in that head-to-head list, the Asian Badminton Championships, is listed twice. So that's actually the 19th meeting between the two of them. And that quarter-final in France. And reacted to the crowd's displeasure, promptly winning the second and third games.
On my left, Lin Dan, China. Lin Dan serve, love all, play.
So the men's singles final. The world and Olympic champion. Far side of the court, the left-hander. Up against the former world champion, Chen. 5 Hong Kong Open titles between the two of them. And just one for this man, 2008. This man, Lin Dan, won his titles in 2003, 2005, 6 and 7. A year ago, the Hong Kong Open, Lin Dan pulled out at the quarter-final stage. Didn't even take to the court. Well, Chen yesterday evening playing against the world number 2, his teammate Chen had the easiest match he's had so far in the tournament. His first round match, which went to 3 games against Hu Yun, was 57 minutes. Second round against Jan Jorgensen was 45 minutes. Against Peter Gader, the winner of the Hong Kong Open 14 years ago. 2-point advantage at mid-game interval. And of course, both players from China and therefore no coaching staff involved. Back to the good old days when the coaches just coached prior to the match and helped in the preparation. And then it's down to the athletes themselves.
Seconds, 20 seconds.
Well, after the excitement and intensity of that mixed doubles final, this men's singles yet to really ignite.
Play.
And a body smash there from Chen used to great effect. It's amazing that he's already up to number 5 in the world rankings when you consider that for the Sudirman Cup in May earlier this year, played in Qingdao in China, didn't even make the squad. Wasn't good enough to be part of the squad, let alone the team.
13-10.
To relieve the burden of travel expenses, the Work Incentive Transport Subsidy Scheme is open for applications from October 3rd, 2011. Application forms are available at Labor Department job centers and the following locations, or can be downloaded from the Labor Department website.
What a thrill.
We only had your enjoyment in mind.
Nature specials don't just appear.
David is so interested in things.
They are made
This is a man who I think will go on.
with passion.
It's the only stuff on telly worth watching.
Attenborough's Journey, Tuesday night at 9:30 on Pearl's anniversary special.
I think we found an anomaly back to your time. I thought this would be good news.
Ethan has a way to track anomalies. Warn the others.
Danny, I did some projections of what would happen if the anomalies kept growing at this rate.
What will happen?
The anomalies would just start to open up everywhere.
Primeval, Wednesday night at 10:35 on Pearl.
Well, Lin Dan had guessed correctly. Knew which side the smash was going to come. Goodness me, what on earth? Hit the blue carpet surrounding the court. Not even close. No, that's better. Well, match so far strewn with errors from both men. Nine career titles for this man. 5 of them Super Series. Bit of a difference to Lin Dan's 44 career titles. just indicating that he's aware of the drift. Oh, it's just wide. Yeah, a little look from LIN Dan towards the umpire as if to say you're going to overrule that. Well, the umpire can only overrule if he sees that a clear error has been made. And, of course, any shot on that far side of the court to where the umpire is sitting, he can't possibly have a clear sight of that. Another shot hitting the blue carpets. Terrible indecision. Far too flat with the lift there, LIN Dan. Right into the hitting zone. Chen.
17-15.
Chen just doesn't have the agility of his opponent when he dives. Doesn't get up again so quickly. In fact, there, didn't get up again at all. Goes long with the back line, and therefore 2 match points to the former champion, LIN Dan. Not the most inspiring of matches, didn't live up to the excitement of our first final this afternoon, the mixed doubles. Often the case when 2 players play against each other from the same country. So for LIN Dan, his 5th Hong Kong Open title. There's confirmation of the score, 21-12, 21-19 in 32 minutes of play. This is the final rally.
我想问你一下，你曾经在香港4次夺冠，这一次再回来又拿冠军了，感觉有没有不同？
中间的时间太长了吧。
And there we have it. There's our winner,
有2、3年没有打得
LIN
特别好，
Dan.
所以今年
Pretty comprehensive win in the end. Of course, a player that was very vocal about the lighting in the new venue in Hong Kong this year. But he manages to pick up his 5th Hong Kong title and his 45th career title. And with this Olympic year coming up, he's certainly going to push his way up the rankings and looks to be, as you said earlier, Kiki, the best player in the world at the moment.
Yeah, regardless of the rankings, again this week, again he shows that he is by far the most skilled athlete in badminton at this time, and of course also being left-handed, it shouldn't be underestimated. Most of the players are used to play against a right-handed badminton. We've seen LIN Dan played here a couple of times. The Hong Kong crowd just loved this. You see there the champion getting himself prepared, obviously quite used to this situation, to be on top of the podium. And
he will retire after the 2013 World Championships. Of course, losing those World Championship finals to LIN Dan, and obviously wants to try and get that crown for himself. And you know, it's some major hurdles. LIN Dan, of course, Olympic and World Champion at the moment.
Yeah, and it's a little bit unfortunate for Lee Chung-wei and a lot of the other players there as Chen as well, because it's a bit like in certain other sports. LIN is so dominant that he tends to take away all the big tournament wins when he's healthy and fit. He is the #1, as we saw today.
Now we have the pleasure to call upon the prize presenting guest, Dr. Tong Kai, President of the Hong Kong Badminton Association. 康樂嘅文化事務處主管康體事務嘅副處長鄭錦榮先生 ，Mr. Chen Deputy Director, Leisure Services of LCSD。Yonex Sunrise 嘅海裏袁宏明先生 ，Mr. Hiro Aki Ibihara of Yonex Sunrise。中聯辦宣傳文體部陳亞婷女士 ，Miss Chen King of the Liaison Office of the Central People's Government in HKSAR。以及屋前副總經理葉玉燕小姐 ，Miss Jenny Yim, Assistant General Manager of OC Hong Kong Limited。多謝咁多位。男子單打 ，Men's Single，亞軍陳金。
Well, he was champion here in 2008, was Chen Jin. He has to settle for second best this year. So LIN Dan takes his 5th Hong Kong. Can't afford that against a reigning and 4-time world champion.
多謝董事長，跟住我哋請鄭錦榮副處長為我哋頒獎。
His 45th career title, 14th Super Series title
Next we have
for LIN Dan.
Mr. Ibihara of Yonex Sunrise to present the prize money. 跟住我哋請海陸袁宏明先生頒發獎金。
$18,750 US for the winner. 9,500 for Chen Jin.
Thank you, Mr. Ibihara. 接住我哋請陳亞瓊女士為我哋獻花。We now have Miss Chen King to present the bouquet. 唔該曬陳亞瓊女士。And now we have Miss Jenny Yim to present the winner's special prize, Housing Euphoria. 跟住我哋請葉玉燕女士為我哋頒發呢個冠軍嘅獎品。
So as they pose for the photographers, the men's singles finalists plus the dignitaries. Just to remind you that next match will be the women's singles final. Wang Xin, the left-handed Chinese player, up against the European champion Tina Baun of Denmark. Following that, we'll have women's doubles in a repeat of the World Championship final. And then the last of our 5 finals this afternoon, men's doubles. The world champions against the world number 2s, Jung and Lee from Korea.